comment section that sort of divided it, and you were fighting in a comment section, and it's it sort of made me feel good in a weird way, because there's a reason for that. Because did you know that the algorithm actually favors, like if the comment section is active, the video gets more views. It gets more recommendations. It shows up in more recommendations, because the audience is engaging with the comment section. But what does that mean? Think about it. That means that videos that intentionally rile up the audience get more recommendations. Isn't that a bit crazy? That means if I say something that riles you up, that's actually good for the algorithm. That's why I don't care much about it, because you become a slave to this algorithm thing, and that can't be a healthy thing. That can't be healthy. Yeah, that can't be healthy. I also, what I did? I ate at Burger King. That wasn't healthy as well. You can see that immediately. I have a very sensitive skin to that. You can see that immediately. But I mean, I didn't. I was sort of. That was the only thing. That was the only food I could get at that time, at that moment in time, because I just had half an hour break, and it was like after 8 o'clock. You get the idea. I was kind of, I don't know, but I'm not stressing it. I think that makes it worse. What's the theme of this? You might ask yourself by now. I started this with no theme in mind. Just a bunch of thoughts, and whatever comes to mind. Right now nothing comes to mind, which is also a nice thing, right? Bit of rest and respite. I didn't upload for 5 days, but that's just because I have a lot to do, And again, I didn't want to be a slave to the algorithm, and what use is it if I make a video every 2 or 3 days and I talk about nothing interesting? I mean, I guess you could make the point right now. Right now I'm not talking about anything interesting, although I think it's interesting to talk about the fact that, I have nothing interesting to say, and think about that. Why is that? So much happened. Actually, yeah, I did think about something interesting. I did think about extremes, because I'm currently, the thing I'm writing, I think I can give away a bit. I think I could give you a bit of an update on what it is. It's in the genre of a science fiction horror movie, but it's also it's funny. It's also funny, and for now, this mix works really well, and I have a really original idea. I've never seen that before. I'm really excited when I can share it, but I don't want to share it yet because, it would. I don't like the expectations that would create. I don't like that feeling of people thinking what it might be and sort of still writing on it, and then you think about the expectations and not really, it makes it a bit harder to focus on. It's a weird thing going on. I thought about that too, and I connected it to this panpsychism idea, about, when I give this out into the world, then the expectations might be an actual real thing, like a real conscious thing that I now have to contest with. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to share too much, just in case this panpsychism thing is real, explore that really well. And also, yeah, novels, games, and all of that stuff. And there's actually, yeah, there are a couple of artists that really took it, you could say they took it too far. But I think in the arts, that's still healthy if that exists. You know, if sort of like a piece of art exists that's just like, that's so over the top, grotesque, you know, you're sort of in between of like, this isn't really good, but it's so bad that I'm glad it exists to remind everyone that, yeah, that's too far, you know. That's an interesting mechanic that art can sort of have in our consciousness, I guess. Yeah, I read about this guy, for example, and I suppose this is sort of a trigger warning, but I'm not going to go into detail. Don't worry about it. But if you look him up, beware, you know. I read about this dude. I didn't know him before. I read about him. I don't know how I got. I don't know why. YouTube Vortex, whatever. I was interested, and this guy called Marquis de Sade, something like that. A French guy, and he was like in the. Hang on, I don't want to get this wrong. Alright, yeah. Marquis de Sade. Yeah, 1740. Alright, 1740. And this dude was, I mean, like, I looked into some stuff he wrote, some sort of poetry stuff, and some of the things he said, complete nihilist. I mean, he said like really incredibly horrendous stuff, and he also sadly did horrendous stuff, you know. That's sort of where I have trouble to, you know, I can separate the artists from the art to a certain degree, you know. When for example, I can't watch Cosby. I can't, you know. I know people still think, you know, yeah, some of his movies are fun or something, but I can't get around the person, you know. Now that I know, I can't. And actually, I found that some people couldn't before. They never thought he was funny. They always felt like that's kind of a weird dude. I think something's up. That's interesting also. That's interesting. Anyway, to a certain degree I guess I can, to the degree that if the artist did something that could be mended with kind words, then I'm alright. You know, if he messed up once or whatever, a messy relationship, whatever, you know, that's alright, that's fine. But if it's like violence, like, I don't know, like a real crime, I have trouble. And yeah, I guess this guy falls into that category. I didn't read up too much, but in any case, as far as I know from what I've heard, this Marquis de Sade was responsible for, or coined the term sadism, as a sadist, to be a sadist, you know. So that's quite a achievement in a way. And yeah, he wrote stuff that was in extreme opposition of the church and everything, like nothing was holy to this guy, and he really went for this nihilist sort of thing in his books, you know, in especially, you know, sexuality was a big theme that he sort of was advocating for, you know, no morals, everything goes, and yeah, that's messed up, but it's also very interesting if you sort of, I think it's very interesting for, yeah, a horror movie, for art, to follow that thought and see where it ends up. And it turns out that, I mean, I haven't read the books, but I found some of his quotes from when he was older, and when he came to reconcile some of the, he sort of retracted some of his statements, I guess, or sort of, came to different conclusions in some aspects. I thought that was interesting, and I think that's what it can do. This sort of, when you're doing art, or when you're thinking about any of these themes, to sort of liberate yourself just for that moment of thinking, for that moment of meditation, if you will, from any of these constraints, and just inhabit this sort of, I guess, persona, or this stance of, nothing society tells me goes for now. For now, it's just me, and I'm just gonna follow this thought, this extreme, whatever, in horror, this, whatever your theme is, if it's sexuality or violence, or, revenge is a big theme in action movies, for example. I think really interesting things can arise from that if you really, think it through till the end. I think this process doesn't cheat. You're gonna end up with an interesting story, even if it's extreme or whatever. If it's art, it's fine, in my opinion. And it's probably really healthy to do that. For depending on your sentimentality and whatever you're interested in. I remember there were times where I didn't want to be near any of these ideas, and I was very romantic, and I just wanted these stories. I couldn't watch any horror movies. There was a time where I didn't want to see them at all. And then there was a time where I just wanted to surround myself with like the dark stuff. I wanna discover the edges, it's interesting. So I'm not saying, read this guy, watch this or anything. It's interesting to think about how these things interact with consciousness, with us, with the reader, the watcher, whatever. And also, something else I noticed is how this art can kind of find you. I just said I don't even know how I found out about this. I'm not even sure. I didn't seek it out. It just sort of, and it's not just the algorithm. I had this with the movies and books and stuff as well, that just sort of like out of nowhere, I was seeing it in the shelves. I was back when I bought Blu-rays and DVDs and all of that stuff, and I have a big collection over there. Maybe I'm gonna show it something. Where I did this, I saw this one movie in the shelf, and I never picked it up. It sort of looked interesting, but nah, whatever. And then one day I picked it up, and that was the time where I needed to see that movie. I knew, I had a really, there are a couple of movies, but I think the specific one I'm thinking about was an anime, I think Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, something like that. I don't know the title, but the specific English title. But yeah, that sort of, and there are many examples of movies that I knew I wouldn't have understood that, or I would have misunderstood it, wouldn't have gotten much out of it when I saw it earlier, and then when I was sort of ready for it, it sort of resonated and I picked it up. I think you can really trust that, I think we do that a lot in culture, obviously, like doing these top 10 lists, and I think 2 days ago the Oscars were a big thing, and they're telling you, watch this movie, that's the best actor, whatever, and I don't believe in any of that stuff. I think it's cool to have these events or whatever, but all of these lists, you know what you wanna watch. You know what you're sort of, yeah. In a weird way it finds you, I guess. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah, that was, yeah. I mean, I have that experience as well with stuff that I watched that I didn't understand, and then I rewatched it, and it's not that bad if you, I don't know, you can do that as well. You can, I don't know, if someone tells you read that book and then you don't get it, read it later, you get it. That happens. That's fine. But yeah, it's interesting what we do, what we do with art, and what art does with us in turn. I mean, yeah, these books, like the Sod books, really, I mean, they burned them. Back then they burned them. They thought they were that dangerous. And, yeah, I guess I still know a lot of people that, yeah, totally don't get why people watch horror movies and they hate them. And they would probably like to burn them as well. But I'm telling you, it can be really healing. It can be really healing. There's a movie critic that said that about, what was it? The movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't watch that, by the way. I didn't watch that because, yeah, I'm a bit sensitive to these real case things. I'm sort of in between. If it's a real case, should you elevate it? Should you really hype it up? That sort of gives the killer sort of a sort of, you're kind of rewarding him in a sense, don't you? I'm split about that. But in any case, he had this experience with that movie where he said, like, when he watched it, was so, back then, so vile, so extreme, even though you actually don't see that much, but the atmosphere and everything. And after it, he said he slept like a baby. He was sort of like cleansed. I get that. I understand that, in that, yeah, you sort of, this art takes you to these extremes, but in a safe space, of course. Nothing really happens, You're fine. But you can explore these boundaries, and then you know where they are, and you can go back to normal, That's like really powerful, I think. And yeah, obviously that's not just for horror movies, that's for all sorts of things, but yeah, lately I was really interested in these extremes, and yeah, I think that's good sometimes. It's sort of, you get these, I don't know, I have these moods. I have these, like, I don't know, yeah, these romantic moods, horror moods, western, whatever. I get these, like, and then I'm just surrounded by that. Not always, but, I'm mixing up right now. I'm sort of a bit western, a bit sci-fi, but mainly horror, and a bit comedy. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna think about that some more, probably talk about it some more. And don't stress me, I'm dreaming about the comment section. What the hell? If I no, it's not you, it's fine. And actually, maybe don't comment at all. I want, or do whatever. Maybe we can. I don't know how we can trick the algorithm. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's something cool we could do, like just sort of a positive discussions. I don't know. Maybe I have an idea. I want to trick the algorithm. I want to do do something. I need the right idea. That would be fun, wouldn't it? If we sort of trick it in some way. I think that's possible. But yeah, I'm gonna think about that some more. I'm gonna think about extreme some more in horror movies. And yeah, I'm gonna link this author, but beware, and I haven't read anything yet. I just heard some reviews and stuff from his books, and they were all very, traumatized. But they were happy that they read it, all of them, which means they got something out of it. That's very good. So maybe I'll read something, but I'm gonna go with something perhaps lighter. I don't know if he wrote anything light, but apparently he has some really interesting characters, and also maybe there's beauty to find there too. I don't know. We'll see. I'll link him, but beware. Anyway, yeah. That was a fun one. See you in the next one, whenever that will be. I have a hunch I'll upload a bit more this week. Next week's gonna be a bit, maybe less, but hey, every week for sure. I want to do that. I like these. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna go to bed now and see you later in the next one.